Hello Internet, and welcome to my live reaction for March Comes in Like a Lion, chapter 185. When we last left our heroes, we had the incredible, the epic saga of the pressure cooker. A chapter I could not describe in words and give justice to the beauty of this chapter. Go back and read it yourself. It is a modern masterpiece of storytelling. And now we have some kind of shogi match or something. So let's dive right on in to Chapter 185, Path, Part 3. Our cover here is continuing Nobidome and on his run with the muscle guy who we last saw several months ago now. I just have to say, thank you very muscle for everything today. Thank you so muscle, and the muscle guy waves them off. So yeah, when we actually last left this match off, Harunobu kind of acknowledged all of Rei's character growth and was just really happy for his friend, and it was so good, and I loved it. But anyway, we're still back in Harunobu's mind. I don't get it. I can't see what Kiriyama is going for. And they're just playing their match. White 3-2 Gyoku, black 6-4 Fu, white 5-2 Kin, black 1-6 Fu, white 1-4 Fu, black 5-7 Gin, white 3-3 Kaku, black 9-6 Fu. I'm not quite sure, A, who's white and who's black, or B, I don't know anywhere near enough about shogi to know really what's going on. Or maybe his plan is to keep circling until I respond. What about his face? Yeah, I don't know. Until a minute ago, he looked like a grade schooler, but now he's just age unknown. And we see Rei is sort of very, very placid here, very kind of not really emoting anything at all. Where are you trying to go? What is it you're planning? Or maybe you're only pretending to know what path you're on, and you're just sort of walking. And we have this image of a metropolitan city and then a sort of more rural village right next to each other and reflected in the water. Not quite, I'm assuming that somehow relates to the path. That Rei doesn't know which of these two places he's going to, but it's acting like he is. He does, maybe. Anyway, Harunobu goes on. Yeah, you've been like that since way back. Always looking like you were thinking about something super deep. But you might have just been spacing out all that time. That's a thing to sort of start thinking about now, I guess. All this time he's thought Rei was always having these deep thoughts, but no, maybe he was just spacing out. Well, I guess that's a strength of yours. Yeah, so when I'm in doubt, I fortify my defenses. And since we've known each other for so long, when he sees me fortifying my defenses, I'm sure he thinks something like, Nikaido hasn't figured out if there's a trap yet. Like I'm a total open book. And Nikaido plays 2-2, I think it's Nikaido who plays 2-2 Gyoku there. I sure as hell won't start running when I can't even see the path. So we're seeing Nikaido is playing he's describing himself as a very defensive player. In stark contrast to what we saw during the Shigeta match, which of course is not what Harunobu wants to be. Anyway, sure as hell won't start running when I can't even see the path. So how are you going to approach Kiriyama? And Kiriyama makes a move, totally shocking Harunobu. Hold up. What the frick? Huh? A wall silver? What the heck's he doing locking up his own king? Huh? Making a castle with no escape route like that? It's not so much a royal guard, it's more like royal confinement. Oh, that might be his king he moved, to be guarded by all these troops. Again, we're in one of those chapters that's not a super interesting character chapter. It's really just a shogi play-by-play kind of chapter almost. Even the kind of more character moments are Harunobu contemplating Rei's shogi style, which is a far cry from what we saw back in 183. And yeah, we're getting a bit more of that here. But also, Harunobu kind of back where he was at the start of this match, where he's sort of all high energy, all kind of panic. He's kind of lost the calm he gained after realizing that Rei found a way past his pain. Anyway, it's not so much a royal guard, but it's more like royal confinement, isn't it? How is he intending to fortify the Gyoku from here? Actually, this is sort of like fortifying your king with cement, isn't it? Like, that king's got what looks like a pretty gloomy face. Is he seriously gonna be okay? He's like imagining a face like a cement thing pouring over the king. A trap? Is this a trap? But I can totally hear the screams of that king right there. And we see the king starting to panic as like the cement lowers over his face or rises over his face. And Harunobu glances back up at Rei. Yeah, real poker face. Also, how do you have a poker face when you're playing shogi? It's pretty odd. This is something I looked into a little while ago. Japan doesn't have a Japanese phrase meaning poker face, so we just use the English one. But why did one never come into being? I mean, Japan and its history are full of the sorts of scenes where you prefer your face not to be red. I mean, that's an interesting question. Why is there no Japanese equivalent of poker face? But like, I really just don't know why we're here right now. In fact, why wasn't it born from shogi? Maybe we can make one now. Like, a shogi face? And it's like, that doesn't really work. Maybe using the Japanese etymology shogi gao. But we're seeing, I'm not quite sure if this is a visualization or what's actually happening. Mainly because I just saw the next bottom panel. I guess Harunobu walking to a restroom and then up the stairs. This is harder than I thought. And then he steps outside. Huh? Hold on, where am I? Why am I on the roof? Did I come here unconsciously while I was focused on thinking? That's scary. I was definitely just trying to just go to the bathroom. So I guess we're on some kind of pause while Harunobu takes a bathroom break. But he was so focused on his shogi face thoughts, he has now ended up on the roof, I guess. You know, this reminds me, back when I was a kid, and it was too painful to watch the other kids chomping away on their sweet pastries. Excuse me. I used to come up here crying. And at the same time, Kiriyama would be up here crying too, because it was too hard for him to bear watching the people coming with their families. And we see this image of him seeing a similarly crying Rei on the rooftop and they're like young children. It's odd to think about, but all those folks back then that we used to feel hopelessly jealous of and clashed with again and again are all gone now for the most part. And us too that were always bawling our eyes out are still here fighting, even now. And we see this image of these kids playing with all their various sort of childhood pastimes, their soccer, like a donut, a game console, I think, and then them with their families. And that's sort of it. Harunobu looks on in the present kind of solemnly. Continue next time. So yeah, I don't really have a lot of thoughts about this chapter. You know, it's not as baffling as last week's kind of diversion. It's not the, you know, emotional high point of 183. It's a decent chapter. It's just sort of continuing more of Harunobu's thoughts. But it's also much more in, like, the minutiae of both the game and the Japanese language of all things, compared to 183's deep dive into Rei and Rei and Harunobu as people. So it's, in my opinion, it's a bit of a step down. But that's also, it's not like I've talked in the past, I talked last chapter even, there are sort of diversions Umino likes to go on. You know, there are elements of the series that are not really why I'm here, but they're just kind of there. Like her cooking fascination, or, you know, I'm here for, like, deep character drama and not really the minutiae of shogi. And this chapter, especially its first, like, 3/4, maybe even 4/5, or really maybe even just until the last page, is all, you know, all shogi. Is like Harunobu trying to work out Rei's strategy, and then just getting really, really confused at his strategy. How it seems, I think it's meant to be just incredibly defensive, I think, is Harunobu's confusion. But then he kind of has this, like, weird poker face aside, which is interesting, I guess, but it's not super important. And then he just accidentally ends up on the roof and starts flashing back to childhood, which is interesting, but I kind of wish that was more of what we saw. You know, this thought of, we used to play with all these kids. You know, there used to be like, there are child shogi players like an amateur level who would come here that we would see. And then they all sort of moved on, and it's us. You know, we're sort of the survivors of that cohort of kid players. We're the ones who are here. We're the adults. And I think there's a lot of interesting character to mine from that. But maybe we'll get that next time. As the scanlator says, we have no idea when the next chapter is coming. We know it's not going to be in 2 weeks. So it might be the second Friday of November. If we're lucky, is as early as we'll get a continuation. I'm hoping it's not 3 more months. Umino, please don't do that to me again. But yeah, it's a bit more Harunobu thoughts. I don't really know where exactly we're going with this, but I'm curious to see how that last page sort of continues, how the questions brought up in that final page sort of continue as the series goes on, or as this arc goes on more particularly. But yeah, I don't really know what else to say. It's a fine chapter. I just don't really have, there's just not that much there. That last page is pretty interesting, but the rest of it is either shogi minutia or the history of the term poker face, which, I mean, I guess that's something. I mean, I know Umino likes her sort of diversions. But yeah, I don't know. It's a fine chapter. It's not actively bad or anything. It's just, again, not really why I come to March. But yeah, I think I'm going to leave this video off here. Hope you all enjoyed the chapter and the video itself. If you did, feel free to drop me a like or subscribe. Or, do whatever makes you happy, And as always, your life is your own, okay? Bye!